why be inside? Why are all these YouTube things, somebody inside in a studio that's all decked out the same lighting scheme? It's clicks. Also, it is pronounced BZB. It's not Busby. BZB. And not 808. I'm all alone and I'm looking over my shoulder like, good God, are my neighbors watching this, listening to this? But the truth is, who cares? We don't talk. The first step is getting here. It's sitting down, hitting record on the camera, and saying something for the first time. And if that takes being a little bit foolish, that's what it is. That's what art is you have to be willing to be a little bit foolish or a little bit wrong. You got to be outside if you want to be an artist. How do you outline an algorithm? How do you lose the trail? This is morning one in the backyard. I feel kind of warmed up now. So yeah, we're really about 2 months in on this YouTube thing now. I'm figuring it out. I mean, the hardest part of it, honestly, is getting comfortable with this side of it, getting comfortable with just sitting down and talking to a camera. When you start a channel, all of the incentives are about making the content that is already being chased. So there's a lot of pressure early on to adapt and really just try to please those algorithms. And that is something that I want to talk about, things like that on this channel. I mean, the things that are going on with the writer's strike in Hollywood, there's a lesson or something in there that I've been thinking about a lot, and I think it has to do with this idea of AI, algorithms, branding, scripting, and where we as the artists come into that, at this moment in time. I think what really defined the millennial generation, or has defined the millennial generation, is this obsession and fixation with branding and presenting ourselves in a way very conscious of how we are perceived at all times. And throw on top of that all of the gasoline of how things work in the culture now, and we live, I feel, in a culture of retreat in a lot of ways, a culture of retreat or attack, but there's not a lot of middle ground just to be able to talk about things and explore things. Back to this idea of branding that I think was the environment that so many millennials grew up in. 80s, 90s, you had all of the corporations rising, and that power of branding and global identity and all of that stuff is rising. But then you mix in social media in the late 2000s, early 2000s, whatever. You mix in social media, and suddenly that obsession with branding extends into the personal space. And as we're all trying to chase our dreams of becoming a creator or an artist, we wind up becoming career salesmen. I mean, it feels like we end up living so much of our lives trying to sell our mixtape from the back, from the trunk of our Crown Vic. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. We have so many more tools now than ever. Back to this idea of branding. All right, so you mix in social media with the millennials, and everything becomes about branding and presentation and packaging, design. How many fucking graphic designers do we need? How many cinematographers do we need? There is a imbalance in the obsession with the surface. And I think what we're seeing now, some of this stuff playing out in the background of the writer's strike, is that if you've been somebody the last 2 decade of your life whether you realize it or not, if you've been somebody that is following the script, following that algorithmic path laid out before you to follow, and you do it without even realizing it, you're feeding what is going to replace you. You are making yourself more like the AI that is able to replace you. I was reading some article about this rising trend of TikTokers emulating robot speech or text-to-speech, AI-generated speech. And you listen, the style of a lot of these TikTok videos to begin with is robotic. There's something in there that's, even when it's being created by humans, it's trying to achieve something robotic or machine-like. And it's like, as our threshold for what we consider human is lowered, the capabilities of these AI rise just enough where maybe it's like this, and by the time we're asking people to accept AI Brad Pitt starring in a movie with Elvis, 15 years ago or whenever it came out, the Polar Express, it's still this. The uncanny valley is too far because our standards of what we recognize as human are still too high. So as those lower and lower and lower in people's speech and how they behave gets more and more predictable, and as these capabilities are rising on the AI side, we kind of meet in this middle. So, all right, what I'm really getting at is the predictability of art and of content, I guess is the more accurate word for it. And I think that one idea that people cling to as all of this AI stuff or less and less human stuff rises to replace what's traditionally been done or made by humans. I think a lot of people cling on to this idea that there will be a mass rejection of that what people are craving is human. And I do believe that, and that's why I'm doing things like this channel. Is like, I do want there to be escape pods for people that want to get out of those paradigms and start just thinking about and engaging with their creativity in a different way that's not as goal-oriented about attaining success or making it. There's a bunny. This is a good reason to do it in the backyard. Little bunny nibbling. I think these writers on strike need to be realistic that they're not artists, or at least in the context of their profession, they are not artists. They're I also got to navigate how to say things bluntly enough in a way that's actually engaging and maybe pokes people into giving things a listen. I don't think it's really going to work to come on here and be totally seasoned all the time. I think that part of the tone on this is that I'm going to try to talk like it's just you and me sitting at a bar in Bushwick, on a Friday afternoon. I think that feels cool. I think that's nice when you get together and do that with people.